So yeah, there's another one, another Popeye horror film, and believe it or not, there's actually even another one called Popeye's Revenge, which I just found out about, and I actually have access to watch it. And whenever I'm watching a movie like this, like Mousetrap or Shiver Me Timbers or the Popeye's Revenge that I just watched, I'm always reminded of that Radiohead song. You do it to yourself, you do. That's how I feel. I do it to myself. And that's why it really hurts. Oh boy. One of the only reasons that I even watch these is because I know, and ironically, right? Like, this is why they're being made, is because like name brand IP gets views. And, stuff no one's ever heard of just doesn't, right? So when I review a Popeye horror film, as bad as it may be, it'll get 2, 3, 4 times as many views as when I review something that I actually think is really good, right? Like, there's been a few movies just this year that I'm like raving, I think are really damn good. No views. Like, very, very little views in comparison. And then I review something like this and it gets 3, 4 times the, we already went through this. But so that's what compels me to do this, because, I have the channel and I want to have it seen and to get guys on it so that I can continue to keep doing this, because I do love it. But man, do I not love watching movies like this. That being said, Winnie the Pooh 2, Blood and Honey, I actually thought was rather good. And then I also watched Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, which I'm going to review next, and we'll talk about that one in the next video. So if you want to hear my thoughts of that one, you can check that one out. But for right now, Shiver Me Timbers. Oh fuck, did this one shiver my timbers? Let's discuss. So this is set in 1986, supposedly. Not sure exactly why it needs to be, because they want it to be an 80s slasher, or because of this like meteor event that you could just make up anyway. So I'm not really sure, because they don't even make it an attempt, and that's been happening. And this is obviously a budget thing, but it's like, if you don't have the budget, then and you're not even gonna try. Like, some of the dialogue, right? They try to do the dialogue like it's from the 80s. They're talking about the Terminator and being like, I heard it's going to have a sequel, and, stuff like that, right? They do a decent amount of that kind of discussion. But not one single person in this film looks like they're from the 80s. Their outfit, their hairstyle, their look, nothing. They don't even bother. It just looks like every other film. If you would not have said this was 86, I would have... The only thing that would have cued me in on that was the dialogue, where it's like, there's no Terminator 2 yet. And I would have been like, wait, when is this supposed to be set? But other than that, the whole rest of the film looks like it's 2025. So it's odd to me when movies do this, when they make it a period piece, but they don't even attempt to make it a period piece. So anyway, yeah, there's a bunch of kids, one of them being Olive Oil, which... I don't understand. The movie's fucking terrible. Okay, if you're just waiting for that, I think you should have been able to guess from the singing of the Radiohead song when I started this. There's nothing good to say about this film. I have some things to say about it, and I wouldn't say that there wasn't some enjoyment that I got out of this, and I really hate saying that, because I don't want anyone to go and watch this, but I almost want people to. So anyone who's super, super curious and is like, I got to see this thing, definitely watch it, because I think it's remarkably terrible. But I think it tries more than Popeye's Revenge. I think Popeye's Revenge is just as bland and boring as it gets. This one, on the other hand, has the opening. There's a kid screaming, and then like a mom or a woman screaming. That might be the worst acting I've ever seen in my entire life. like of all time. And I've watched a lot of shit in my life. But the screams from this rivals, oh my god, from Troll 2. This was a little girl. She just looks and she goes, ah, and the mom's like, ah. Oh, I should have known right then. I should have known. I knew before I pressed play, but you never know because Winnie the Pooh was, 2 was actually all right. It was very watchable. Actually, good. With some really rad kills, and the characters were okay. The characters here are all insufferable. The dialogue is atrocious, is being too nice. Yeah, the first 45 minutes of this movie is shockingly terrible. What I was going to say earlier before I went on this rant to be like, for anyone who's just here for the review and shut up and don't talk. I never understand that. I don't understand what the rights thing is, what they have access to and rights to, because I had noticed in the previous film that I watched, Popeye's Revenge, that Popeye's name, somebody said maybe the wannabe Crazy Ralph character may have said his name. They weren't sure either, but I had claimed I don't even think they say Popeye's name in that movie. I don't think they say it in this film either. If they do, it's very quick. But I don't think it's said. And then Olive Oil, who's our main character, the girl in this, she goes by Ollie. But when you look on IMDb, it says Olive Oil and her friends, her brother and her friends, right? Kind of thing. But in the movie, it's never said as Olive Oil. And then there's also, in Popeye's Revenge, there's clearly a wimpy character who's asking for hamburgers at the bar or whatever. There's no Bluto or anything. So I am really curious on what the rights issues are. Because the way that they write these movies, they're so fucking lazy. They just take the framework of a slasher and insert Olive Oil as Laurie Strode, Michael Myers as Popeye, right? They don't take any of the Popeye idea. This isn't Popeye made horror. This is a slasher movie made Popeye. That's what's fucking bizarre. I don't understand that approach. I don't know if it's lack of vision, lack of budget, but there is so much shockingly bad, horrendous CGI in this. So they have a buff guy that's playing Popeye. There is one funny gag with how the guy becomes the monster Popeye with a meteor. I won't give up the gag in case you watch it. I actually thought that was funny and clever, and I was like, okay, that's cute. That got me to laugh. That being said, a good amount of the movie got me to laugh. Was I entertained because it was so bad? It was good. Yes, in the last maybe 30 minutes, I would say that happened. And that rarely happens. So I did find some enjoyment in this, but it was in a fuck my life kind of way. Now, that could be the intention here. And I really do try. Maybe I am not the target audience. Maybe because I am older now. Having remembered a time when, in the 80s, when bad movies could be fun. The whole so bad it's good. There was a lot of heart, a lot of because they were very sincere. Older horror used to be very sincere. And it really tried. And these movies, they try to do that throwback thing, and they are trying to be purposely bad, and it just comes off as inauthentic. It comes off as soulless. It comes off as cheap. It never works. And plus it looks like shit, right? Because films used to be shot on film, and they had a different, quality to them, as to where these just look awful. I hate the look of cheap digital film. Not film, but you know what I mean. Higher budgeted or better production valued films of today, shot on digital, look great. There's tons of things that look amazing, and I have no problem with them. Does film typically look better? Yes, right? When I look at some of the modern films that have optioned for film, you can just tell there is something different to them. There's something there that looks better for sure. But there's also plenty. I mean, most films we see these days are beautiful and are shot digitally, and I love the look of them. But these cheap digital films never look good. Never, ever, ever. And it really sucks the life out of whatever might be there. But God, there's so many moments in this that I was just laughing out loud at how bad things were. But I don't know if it was in an entertaining way or when you're losing your mind and you just laugh because you don't know what else to do. Jesus Christ. So yeah, they have a big buff guy. I'm kind of all over the place with this because this movie made me all over the place. There's like this buff guy who plays Popeye, but they've like CGI'd his face, but like I think there's a prosthetic on his face. So in Popeye's Revenge, they have a mask that's pulled over his face to be his face. And I actually like the look of that Popeye. This one, what they're going for, I understand the idea behind it. And I'm like, okay, I can see that in theory being cool. But because of the CG, and they use CG on his body too sometimes, but other times not. It's like they're trying to animate. And then his like huge pipe that also grows from the meteor shower along with him looks really terrible. But and then like the first kill will make you want to shut off the film because it is a CGI mess. And he's CG. It looks like you're watching a really bad animated film when that kill happens. And he's all CGI'd. The kill's all CGI. The blood splattering everywhere is all CGI. And you're like, and it's, you know, I'm not some hater of CGI. You know, it works in certain places for sure. I mean, there's amazing CGI out there. And then there's trash CGI, which this film, what do you expect? This film probably had a budget of, you know, 6 coconuts. It had no money, right? So, you know, they're working with what they got. I get it. But sometimes it's better to, I don't know, play within your limits. But it does, I'll give the movie credit for the fact that it did want to have fun. It definitely was made by someone who was having a great time. Everyone was having a good time. There's a huge showdown between our main character and Popeye in the end that features the most ridiculous fucking weapon I was not expecting in a million years. Why she didn't grab that first when she had it as an option earlier in the movie, I don't know. But it's laugh out loud, and it's like, you know, there's lots of homages to like Aliens and other films. You'll notice if you're a big film fan. So the love for cinema is obvious, right? There's somebody who really loves movies, and they're making this to have a good time and for people to have a good time. It just didn't work for me. So I don't want to shit on the film too much, because while I did hate it, and I really, really, really am not a fan, I can't deny some unintentional enjoyment, which you have enjoyment or you don't, so it's better than something else, right? I've watched plenty of things where I'm just completely bored. I had a better time watching this than I did Popeye's Revenge, for sure. Even, I don't know how I'd compare the two, but I had more enjoyment out of this. I laughed a good amount. With Popeye's Revenge, I was just bored stiff. I had no enjoyment in that movie at all. Nothing was funny, nothing was cool, nothing was like memorable in any way. Bad, good, doesn't matter. This one I actually laughed at how fucking stupid things were and how bad things looked and whatever. You know, I don't want to keep going over the same point, but yeah. it was I don't know, were my timbers properly shivered. Man, after the abuse I took from this film, I was sitting in a corner shivering, shaking. Yeah, I don't know, man. And then I find out today that there's like multiple other Mickey Mouse horror films that are either out. I think they're almost all out. You got that Screamboat one with David Howard Thornton. You got The Mousetrap, which I already reviewed on the channel. You've got, I thought Steamboat Willie. Isn't that another one? And then, is it Screamboat? Is that the one with David? And then Steamboat Willie is a different one. And then there's another one that I just saw was on today, which is like Mouseboat Massacre. And I'm sure there's more coming. And then there's another Popeye one, which I already said earlier. And then there's like a Winnie the Pooh versus, was it Popeye or fuck? I have no idea. And then of course there's the whole puniverse, right? With Bambi and Sleeping Beauty and whoever the fuck else. So. They're really, I don't know what it is right now, but they're really piling them on. They're really piling them on today. Like right now, in 2025, there seems to be tons and tons and tons of these in development. Probably because the Pooh movies have had some decent success. That's warranted this whole Pooniverse. So I think a lot of filmmakers who are trying to make a name for themselves, like Gambit, are jumping on this, right? They're just like, screw it, I can do this. But I just implore people to look into. I don't know what the rights issues are. I don't know. Can you not use the name Bluto and Wimpy? Like, is there certain characters you have access to? It's just the character of Popeye or Olive Oil, or are you not allowed to say his name? Or like, how much of the stories? Because I would look at different Popeye stories if I was sat down. If I had to sit down and write a script, if I was commissioned to write a script for a Popeye horror film, I would really put some thought into this. But that's just me. Maybe I'm taking the fun out of it. Maybe me taking it too seriously is not what people want from this. I'm not saying I wouldn't make it fun. I don't know if there's a way to do this seriously. Well, I guess you could, but regardless, it's just weird to me how much this lacks Popeye. There's nothing Popeye about this film. If someone didn't tell me that this was Popeye related, I would probably see some connections to it. I'd be like, oh, Ollie, like olive oil, and then the guy kind of like has a Sailor Man vibe to him, and I'd be like, oh, Ollie and a Sailor Man, oh, it's almost like Popeye. That's about it. That's about all you get from this film that's related to Popeye. So two small little things that you blink and you miss it. So where the fuck is the Popeye? I don't get that. Like, why isn't anyone making a Popeye horror film? What are these? What are these characters that like go to the woods or go to an abandoned factory and they run into Popeye in there? Like, Popeye doesn't fucking go out in the woods. Popeye isn't in an abandoned factory. Like, have you ever watched a Popeye cartoon? Like, I don't understand. At least in Popeye's Revenge, he eats spinach and that's like worked into the story. But with this one, meteor shower? Like, what the fuck is this? So really weird. I don't get it. I don't know what they have rights to and what they don't. But I'm done talking about this one. I watched it and I got through it. I survived. I'm here to talk about it. But that's that. On to the Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. I'll see you there. Adios.